I am Amoka Mom, and this video is inspired by Old Time. Thank you so much for the comment that you left on my Packing for Disney video. You wanted to know about the cost of the vacation, and Disney is very, very expensive. Some of the best advice that I could offer you right up front is to realize that there is a lot to see at Disney. Why else would people come back year after year, multiple times when they've already been there? I've decided that it's impossible to truly enjoy every aspect of the trip in one visit. And so what I like to do before I even get there, in a very relaxed way, go on the website, visit around, see what the different attractions are, see what time of day the attractions are happening. I know this year they had Star Wars weekend, and whenever we go to Universal Studios, not Universal, Hollywood Studios, we like to go to the Beauty and the Beast show. But because they were having Star Wars weekend, Beauty and the Beast show was only in the earlier part of the day, and in the evening, that theater, they weren't showing Beauty and the Beast. And so if we had gone to the park later on in the day, we would have been upset because we couldn't see, Beauty and the Beast. But, that kind of planning is important. And I know this year, for the first time, when we went, they had the app that you could get on your phone. It has all the times for all the shows and all the rides. You could even do Fast Pass on it. We did run into a few snags here and there, probably because that's what my husband does for a living, so he found the bug. But overall, it was an easy way to know what you were doing when you were in the park without getting online to ask somebody for anything. And you could even schedule your fast passes the day before if you wanted to. For little children, I have found that it's important to realize that they can only absorb so much, and they get overstimulated very quickly. Best scenario for us has been to do a park in the morning, go home, and let the rest of the day be laying by the pool, taking naps, playing games, watch a video, low-key things like that, so that they have downtime. And then if we wanted to catch the fireworks at Epcot that night, and I know that my young one got a really good nap, then we would head back to the park, because I think the fireworks are like 8-9 o'clock whatever time it is that it just gets dark. That's when they do the fireworks. We could do that real quick and then leave as the park closes. So that kind of planning, I think, is really important for Disney, because to me, nothing is worse than having a kid that just isn't coping well. And you feel the pressure when you're in the park that you want your kid to have fun, you want your kid to have a good time. They've been crying for the last 2 hours, and it just makes everything go downhill really fast. I have noticed that they have places in the park where you could take a downtime without leaving the park. I noticed that at Magic Kingdom, in the Adventureland area, that they had like an air-conditioned play area, but there was plenty of seating where you can go and quietly sit with your kid. I've noticed in their brochures they have designated nursing areas where you could go and quietly nurse your kid. So if you absolutely can't leave the park, I would take advantage of that, or just find yourself a spot somewhere and just sit and just allow the child to be quiet. We have a picture back in the day of Mocha Girl 3. She must have been maybe just 2 or just under 2, just completely passed out in her stroller, and we just people watched and let her get as good of a nap as she could get. As far as transportation, I think the best case scenario is if you can make use of Disney transportation. I think our most economical trip to Disney took place about 10 years ago when we stayed at, Pop Century. They have their economy resorts now. And so that was one of the lower cost resorts. We stayed there. We paid for Disney dining, and we used the transportation. They shuttled us from the airport And from there, you could take a bus to any of the Disney parks and also downtown Disney. The thing you have to remember about Disney is even if you drive your car to Disney, you are parking in a parking lot that's not right outside of the entrance of the parks that you are going to. I think one of the parks is closer to the parking lot, but you still have to take a tram, wait online. Depending on when you left the park, you might be waiting online for a while to get on the tram. You have to take the tram to the parking lot. And if you're at Epcot, you have to take a monorail to the tram to your car. So if the reason why you want to bring your car is so that you can have your car near you and you could go back and forth and get what you need from your car, just realize that it takes some work to get to your car. Now, the Disney transportation is, I think you still have to take a tram to get to the bus to get home. But at the end of the day, the convenience of not worrying about my car, getting on their air-conditioned bus, letting somebody else drive me when my kid is exhausted and I'm exhausted, to me, it was worth it to do it that way. Now, having a car is really helpful if you don't plan to eat all your meals at the park. You know, there have been times where we've had refrigerators, so I've had milk, cereal, bread, peanut butter, cheese, cold cuts, things that I could make a quick meal with, and that worked really well when we were doing half days at one park. So, we could get a couple of meals in, not in the park, and maybe buy more snacky foods in the park, which are less expensive, and what our kids wanted anyway. You want an ice cream? We can buy an ice cream, and so in that case, then having a car was helpful because I could drive to Walmart, because Walmart, supermarkets, all of that is right there. So that's another thing. You don't need to bring your whole life with you, because at the end of the day, if you really need something, all your stores that are right there. And matter of fact, they built an outlet mall, right there. So you could even go name brand shopping if you want to. So that's another thing. Mentally, I'm not going to Timbuktu. It's okay. That can take some of the stress off of planning, to realize that you really are not in the middle of nowhere when you go to Disney. As far as Disney dining, I really enjoyed doing Disney dining. It felt really relaxing to know that, I had so many meals. All I had to do is walk up with a card, and snacks were included, beverages were included. It allowed us to eat at some of their full service restaurants, which are extremely expensive if you just go in there and try to pay cash for your meal. For example, one of our favorite restaurants is at the Animal Kingdom Resorts. It's kind of like an international buffet type of restaurant with a lot of African options. And so one year we didn't do Disney dining, but for reliving purposes of traditions that we have in our family, we decided that we were going to go and eat at that restaurant anyway. And I don't think there were 7 people in our family at that time. Maybe there were 5 with a baby. And we spent over $200 for our meal. That's how pricey it can get at their full service restaurants. But you don't have to eat at a full service restaurant. There are a lot of quicker service restaurants, and so you could think of it as more of like a higher end Burger King, where maybe you're spending like $8.99 for a sandwich, $7.99 for a slice of pizza, and the portions are not huge. Drinks, maybe you'll be spending $12 per person or something like that. But if you eat heavier off site, then you can definitely satisfy your kid with some French fries, a pretzel, a popsicle, some ice cream, drinks, things like that can help make it a little bit less expensive. Thank you for watching my video. Those are all the tips that I could think of, but I'm sure there are more. If you have some time saving, money saving, stress saving tips on a Disney vacation, leave your comment down below.